so again, I'm Monique. I'm known as Monique. I have a nonprofit organization for missing children and endangered persons. I've had a nonprofit since 2011. And Safe House of Hope does a dynamic job with the outreach. It's been probably grouping of theirs for years. There was another organization that would sponsor them with the Safe House of Hope. And what I love about what the topic tonight is very similar to what I felt like with them before, is the heal-a-thon. So there were women and men who actually put on high-heel shoes and walked around like a park and or a reservoir. Some of the locations change every year, raising funds and raising awareness about what it's like to actually walk a hill, but the hills, with that pain and that agony that kind of goes along with it, because you're walking around, your legs are hurting, your feet are sore, and that's a huge impact that a day-to-day person will take on. And not even some lives. This is just you raising funds and raising awareness to feed the pain. And what it does is it gives you that jolt of energy to say, my gosh, is this really going on for hours and hours at a time, day and day, every single day. And when you see the age that is happening, it's 14, it's 12, it's not just, girls, boys, hey, good evening, it's boys as well. So, you got to look at this, and that's what this is about, just being disenfranchised is, the mindset is, and you're naive because at one time we were always thinking it's girls, and here it is, it's actually boys as well. Everything doesn't discriminate when it comes to age. Again, the Safe House of Hope provides platforms that are out there to give people an opportunity to learn about human trafficking, but what's most importantly, what I'm important about it is what we need to do actively. Not just knowing about it, being about it, and engaging, and how to engage. And again, that's when I became really aware and volunteered a lot with what they do. Just keeping that information out there, promoting that information, and then taking part in day to day. Some things are really easy to do. I think you mentioned earlier that it's a sad subject to always talk about because people are preying on our children. They don't get and totally understand. And here's where the topic tonight is really on a lot of disenfranchised children. Is the economy and the role that it plays. A lot of times people just assume that all children know what's going on, but all children are not prepared to have cell phones, certain levels of technology. Technology will snatch these children right into that world because you never know who's on the other side of that phone. So, they're snatching pictures from other people's profiles and, oh, hi, what's your name? You're 14, I'm 14. They can be 44. 34, 54, 64 on the side. And our children don't get it. They don't know. They're naive. And then they pray that, hey, I can get your phone, we can talk more. Let's be that. Don't tell your parents. So at the same token, because they don't have access to things, this is what's going on with them knowledge. Another piece that is happening in the school system. Our school systems, a lot of times, they're taking the phones away, which is a good thing. The last thing you need to do is in a classroom environment where the teacher is trying to have a real curriculum. You're there to be educated, read math, the whole little arithmetic piece. But at the same time, you're being learned right out of that classroom. So while your parents thinking that you're home doing homework in the evening, or you're in school during the daytime, in all actuality, you're in school and you're texting a stranger. So at the end of the school, instead of you going home, or going to an after school activity, you're actually meeting up with somebody who's basically putting you in harm's way. And these are the things that we need to tell children. We really need to tell, and it's of all ages. It is of all ages. I want to read something really quick that there was something that a teacher had wrote about human trafficking and what's actually happening in one of my topics. And it's not new. Who's familiar with Peter Pan? Peter Pan. Remember Peter Pan was a teenage boy, had a girl, depending on who told the story, and actually it had a whole organization of other little children. Well, how did they survive? They stole. You know, they went out, just like Oliver Twist. Think about Oliver Twist. They were homeless children. What did they do? They pickpocketed. You know, they stole, they robbed from other people. But basically to them, it was just a level of survival. At the time, they didn't think that what they were doing was illegal, but it was a way for them to either pickpocket and sell the items back to the public, or they would pickpocket for food, to buy food and bring it to the home. So into their mind, it was a normal. The normalcy. So now the normalcy is coming back. So just envision this. The same kids who are so naive, not in tune to what we as adults need to stress to them every single day about what's going on the other side of the cyber world, with their cell phones, with their laptops, with their iPad, with the nooks, you name it, anything electronically, is that they are now being pulled into this world that they think is really okay. But they're opening themselves up to prostitution, drug use, that when you see that children are being arrested, our last two cases, we could not find these children to save our lives. Had no clue where they were. Parents called the hotline, did a missing person flyer after they notified law enforcement, got their police report, started making posters and flyers. This is what we do, the same teams. And we take these flyers, and in my particular technique is what I do is I put the flyers inside the page protectors for rain. You don't want the color of the sun to start a little bit. It kind of protects it a little bit more. With the tape, it's really just going to secure it. Because you don't want it to get rained on or like I said, the color is really happening. But what's happening is that because they're living that lifestyle, there are people coming behind us and they're snatching them down. Yeah, so an hour later, I can circle that same community because I know that's the area that I need to be working in. Because that child would be in a classroom environment. You know, both families work, they have a vehicle, have a family plan on the phone, no problem. And what happens in the middle of the day, they're texting the wrong person, they get out there and they think that it's okay. They're not knowledgeable, you know, about what's really happening. Again, that's the role that we play. We're giving them the tools and the techniques to protect and safeguard themselves. So just like how many times you tell your kid, clean your room, 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 clean your room. Wash the dishes, wash the dishes, wash the dishes, wash the dishes. Do your homework, do your homework, do your homework, do your homework. Don't talk to strangers, don't talk to strangers. It is the same thing that we have to do now with what's going on in the community. Again, what I was going to read to you, I'm sorry about, is that the new statistics is not just about the teens, it's what we need to know that the teens don't know to again empower them, is that kids as early as 12 and 14 have residency. I'm going to say that one more time. Kids that are 12 and 14, maybe even up to 16 and older, obviously, have residency. What's going on now, and that's why I kind of reference back to Peter Pan with human trafficking, and I reference back to Oliver Twist, is that kids are running away from home thinking that everything is okay because they're not understanding that they can be snatched, abducted, or trafficked right out of the area that they thought they were going to be safe at into harm's way. So imagine a 14-year-old girl having her own place. Imagine a 14-year-old girl telling her friend, well, you can come stay with me. Imagine after 4 weeks, because this 14-year-old just thinks she's hanging out, having a big old sleepover for about 4 or 5 weeks, and she ran away from home because she upset because her parents punished her for using her cell phone. Well, when is the time to pay your rent? When you start making your contribution to any of the living expenses, which is the food, the needs. So the one girl thinking she's an entrepreneur. She's a madam. She's a 14-year-old madam. Why is she living in that environment? Again, it's the economy, whereas in the event that her parents, the second degree, lost their job, she has to fend for herself. How many social workers do you think that we have in Baltimore City? Not enough. How many host families do you think we have in Baltimore City or the state of Maryland? Not enough. How many foster homes do you think that we have in Baltimore City? And in the application process, how many big mamas? You don't even hear people talking about big mamas anymore. Kids have people to go to in the event that there was a conversation that they need to have with somebody else other than their parents. And they're becoming the adults now. So there's a whole community of you're a good slumlord as long as you pay them. First month rent, security deposit. So if you're prostitute, you're gonna come up with that rent. So by this time, you're a 14-year-old man. Or you now have become a trafficker. Their mindset is not thinking that they're a trafficker. They're just thinking how they can get money, and that's how they portray it. So again, that's what we have to do to empower the kids. We don't just come and have these conversations and say don't run away from home, because a lot of them enjoy their lifestyle. So have you, who in here has heard the newest kind of rampages that's going on? You hear more and more other teens robbing other teens at the bus stops, walking home from the store. Right. How many senior citizens' homes have been broken into in the last 30 days? Just randomly, you hear 4th and Street in the area. Right. So who do you think are doing it? You notice that the teens, you're rarely seeing that they're 35 and 40 years of age that's doing these home invasions. They're teenagers because they think that because they're senior citizens or elderly people that they can handle that environment. So they're breaking in and they're stealing things out of their home. Just like the young lady who was shot near the Alameda shopping center. I'm sorry, near the Alameda. The same exact thing. They're thinking that. Yes, ma'am. Right. So this is what's happening. It has been going on for, I'm going to say a little over 8 years, but in the last 2 years, it has increased drastically. So again, the mindset of who is the normal trafficker is not the boogeyman, it's not that weird looking guy you see peeking at the corner. It is becoming our children. So our communication and the language that we have to use with them now, it has to change. Kids are being coerced right next to their own classmates. You want those new jeans, you want those tennis shoes, you want that lace front, you know, I'll get you those, I'll get you those. You want a new iPhone, I'll get you those. So by that time, you look shocked. Oh. It is very much so because, you know, working in the industry and knowing the industry is one thing, you know, and how to find a resource. You know, here's a wholesale, here's some counseling, go to your school, talk to somebody else, get you a mentor, find you a coach, you know, get involved with a after-school program, football, hockey. You know, that's what we're so used to. Traditionally, this is what we're used to doing, and this is the conversation that we're used to having. So we don't open our minds to what they're doing and how they're able to live and what's going on when you hear this, then we're not suited well enough to handle that and to work with them. So I'm excited to have the opportunity to even be able to share this information because I do this on a day-to-day basis. So I do an intake, a parent may call me, think that they're running away. My normal conversation is with human trafficking and say, okay, you have less than 2 to 3 days because within 2 to 3 hours, they're usually mentally, physically abused, sexually abused, and in a lot of cases, in other cases, they're taken across the same time. So the recovery efforts really have to be quick. But when you're noticing that they're totally leaving the surface, like you don't see them. The Facebook page shut down, Instagram shut down, Twitter shut down. You're trying to text them. Whatever your normal communication is, if you reaching with your child, you can't anymore. Because of course, the next teenager is going to say, you know, your mother going to text you. Cut your phone off. So every time we have an opportunity, I applaud you guys for being here because you're taking the opportunity to learn what's new. It's just like with iPhones. Think about it. When the iPhone came out, it was Apple. Okay, what do you got now? You got Apple 1, you got Apple 2, you got Apple 3. Apple 1 did this, Apple 2 did that. Each time, people are making multi-millions of dollars off of the new information that they're gaining. And that's our goal. We're trying to save multiple lives with all of the new information that we're gaining. So again, I applaud you for coming. Even and if anything I said was kind of like new, kind of like a little new for you tonight. So you knew a little bit of the normal trafficking, you knew a little bit of our children are being, you know, kind of coerced out of the home. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for that. Yeah, because now you can see the tie connect. Right, exactly. There are not, so with every single arrest that happens in Baltimore City, there is not enough, again, foster homes, social service organizations. There are not a lot of host families. These children are released back out in the streets. with the drug use, they said Baltimore, Maryland has a high rate of heroin use, and cocaine use. So, of course, the family members are dying, or they're just so ill, they're so under the influence that they're not able to take care of their children. The kids are taking care of themselves. Because you have to have that conversation. I have a 14-year-old daughter who just graduated from Hamilton Elementary Middle. The minute I learned about this, so do you know somebody who knows somebody who, you've got to act, you've got to ask them, you've got to engage. We have the difficult task of everything as responsible adults that we have to do. We just got one more thing to add to the plate. It's one more thing we have to add to the plate. Instead of saying, are you having sex? Remember, it used to be, now it's, are you having sex, are you having unprotected sex? Or are you having sex, unprotected sex, or are you on birth control? Now are you having sex, unprotected sex, are you doing it in school, in the classroom? So years ago, we heard that kids were sneaking during the auditorium, in the gymnasium, they were in the, so each year, as the responsible adults that we are, we're the social responsibility individuals, or social responsible individuals, we have to have that conversation. So it's one more thing that you gotta add. Let me tell you, as a mother of 4, my oldest daughter is 25, my youngest is 14. The conversations that I'm having with my daughter at 14, I wasn't having with my oldest daughter at 14. Right. Thank you. This is the eye-opening piece. And you know what? I fell in love with you for the first time. I don't even know who you are, but when you said that you shared this information tonight about the Safe House of Hope, being here presenting about human trafficking, you told you, regardless if they showed up, but they know it. Let me tell you something. Just because they are not here, they know it. And once you know, it's the most important thing. You shared it with your employer. You said you shared it at your, again, with other people at the church. You sent out notifications. Even if they're not here, they know where they can go to get it. They know that the Safe House of Hope, they know that this church family is involved, and they know that Safe House of Hope is a resource. That is key. Because if something was to happen today or tomorrow, who are they going to call? They're going to call you. What was the name of that? What's your church name again? What is the name of that organization again? So you did your job. You did your job. If no one showed up, you did your job. What's most important is people don't understand their influence. Your influence sent a big message out there. Now, I'm pretty sure you're going to go back. I know you're going to go back over. You were sitting up there like, what? You was like, ah.
Well, I think one of the things that's important that I know we mentioned this before. These things overlap. These overlap.
Yeah.
Because we talked about some of these things overlap, obviously. But one of the things to watch for is, if they're getting some nice stuff that the family shouldn't be, ask them where they got it.
Right.
If they get it from a friend, that's a big. Instead of just saying that's a nice friend,
Right.
realize they got a nice friend.
And
begin to have that, and then
that's another level.
And then, you don't jump on them, right? But you come alongside and have a conversation.
Mm.
Hey, nothing's free in the world. Yeah.
Right. And it's
what's going to be asked of you?
right. And not only that.
Yeah, and they'll of course blow you off, but they'll think about it.
Right.
So I mean, that's just following up on what you were saying. That's what we can do with this information.
Right. And the key piece is the awareness. Now, the beauty of it all is it doesn't necessarily have to always be your child. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you can overhear, like he was just saying, like you can overhear, like, oh, somebody just got a new cell phone. If you hear your child say, oh, I just got the new iPhone 5, my friend got the iPhone 5. It's not your child. You overheard her say to someone else, oh, well, wow, did their mom start back to work again? They got the, was that one of those programs? You buy it, you get it for free with a 2-year enrollment plan. That's how you just jump on. You just, like a panda, like, oh, boom, jump on it any way you can, because even if it's not your child, she's involved and she's hearing it, which means that opens up a whole new mindset for her to now inquire about, okay, well, how did she get hurt? Even if she's not involved, that she's curious. How did that happen? Well, how did she get that phone? And it opens up, like, you take advantage of that. Okay, well, you know what she had to do to get that phone. You don't know. Did she have a summer job? We do our responsible piece again, that, they had to work for that phone to keep their grades up. Did they work for that phone? Did they have a study course that they get? What do you need to just say to them to kind of nip that in the bud right away? What I do with activities like that, I make a stand. I go right to, oh, not in my house. You ain't paying no bills. You want an iPhone? What? So again, each household is different, and you have to play it to work in your favor, which is really, really important. Another piece that shows that some of the kids that are naive, all the ones that are definitely homeless children are the most disengaged or disenfranchised children out there. They do not have access to knowing some of the things that the day-to-day, Monday through Friday family would know in a particular environment. So again, they are subject to be manipulated into a lifestyle that they didn't want to partake in, or they don't even realize. A lot of kids don't even realize. 2 cases ago that I was working on, the young lady was with a group. She was actually house hopping because she didn't even realize that the environment that she was in calls for you to be of service. It called for, so she's still thinking that she's just hanging out with some friends. And just that quick, she realized that it was her time, it was her turn. And what I tell people, the easy way to do it is college kids. My daughter called me from Coppin State. She goes, yeah, Mom, she goes, I want to start drinking, I go, well, okay, honey, I'm just a grown, you're 18. It was at the time, I think she was 20. I said, okay, not a problem with me. I said, but you know that, give me the car back. I'm stopping insurance because you can't do that. And I said, well, where do you get money? Because, you got your scholarship, but then we're working ways to make sure that you have your extra cash. Oh, no, it's free. They just pass it around. I said, but it's going to come a time that it's going to be your turn to divvy up. It may not be Thursday night get together. It may be next Saturday night. And eventually someone's going to say, well, Jenny, when are you going to put in your money? When, last couple of times, you didn't bring anything to the table. That's when the red light goes off and the shockers kind of hit. And they realize it ain't free. Just like with the 14-year-old girl who was going from house to house to house. When she realized it wasn't free, that these are not your parents. Your parents, it was free because you had responsibilities, you had rules, you had chores, you had obligations. They were taking care of you, and you were doing the responsible thing. These individuals is a lifestyle. It is a lifestyle, and they don't realize it until they're in it. And a lot of times it's too late. It's too late. If you go out and you steal because it's your week to go make groceries and you have to go to Murray's Steakhouse, let's say, and you get caught stealing some ribeyes, you're the one that's going to jail. You're the one that's going to have the record. Then you have to decide on how you're going to get back home. But then you extend your stay a little bit because you're embarrassed, you're ashamed. So it starts adding up. So the sooner that we can have these conversations with our kids now, and some of the ones who are actually involved in it, I don't have not one problem speaking to kids that are already out there in their life. What hurts me the most is our resources. What's really going on in the community? If we actually had every single child that was living on the street, that were trafficked to home, and had somewhere for them to go, where on earth would it be? Where on earth would that be? They're looking for that place now. The system is what they call it. But there is no system. I've noticed women who have been on Section 8, 10, 15 years, their process didn't change. That complete process, you could be on Section 8, your mother can pass it down to you, and your other aunt can pass it down. You can pass down some Section 8, not anymore. So again, it's just the information that we're gaining today, what we do now today to instill those values and those concepts in our children's mind, it's a powerful thing. I'm just excited to be able to. I thank Safe House of Hope for giving me the platform to do it, because I do it on one level that's totally different. I go right to the parents. And I'm not ashamed. If you call me and say, Monique, my child is missing, I called the police, and you send me a picture, I don't want that pretty church-going picture. That ain't the one that the people are looking for. I don't want the one that's... Send me the one that look like this. Yeah, send me the one look. That's what I need, because that's what your child looks like. That's what you got to hit home. Those are the conversations that I have to have it with the parents. Right. Don't try to portray the little pink dress and, the graduation picture. I want that form-fitting, low-cutting dress, even though I cropped the picture. But I have to talk. We have to talk straight talk in today's time. Time is of the essence. Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. Every 40 seconds across the country. That's a national statistics there. Every 40 seconds. Right.
that don't report. Right. Right. Check your zip codes. That's another thing. People are not reviewing. Checking your zip code on a month-to-month basis, with the National Registry is so important with pedophiles. Again, there are 34 pedophiles in my community. Those are the ones who are registered. There are more because they didn't register. There are more because they haven't got a card check. So my 33 percentile is probably up to about 75 or 80. But you need to check it. And somebody else moves in the community, I ain't mad. Hey, neighbor, 21214. Oh, if you don't, it's not being nosy. We ain't Big Mama peeking through the curtains anymore. We know. Right. We're not, right. Exactly. Thank you. Oh, no. Oh, no problem. No thing. Be careful out there. But again, this is what we have to do. If somebody moves in, I don't care if it's a nice person, they look nice, a husband and wife, couple. How many husbands and wives have we seen that they had trafficking rings? How many nice couples have you seen being arrested? Raids they busting down their door with the big old metal, boom, kicking in, grabbing young girls and young boys, ripping them out of there. The FBI is always talking about that. And they look nice. Oh, I wouldn't imagine that. That is no longer the fact anymore. I wish something would happen in my community and a reporter walk up to them and they go, oh my gosh, you know what? You can't even say not in my community anymore. You can't, who says that? Right. Oh, I'm just ashamed. Or, what's actually happening? Oh, not the coach. I've been knowing that coach for 20 years. Who knew? So if the kids don't know, because we're not sharing it, we have to take this information, the resources, the human trafficking 101 is being facilitated by your church. Send that message out. Send some of this to the newsletter. Blank it out for the people that you missed human trafficking 101. Did you check your registry? We have the 1-800 numbers. How many people have the 1-800 numbers in their phone right now? I locked my phone. Listen, it's locked in my phone just because. It was locked in my phone before I started doing this. So this is the National Human Trafficking Hotline number. Anybody got a phone? Want to pull it out? Want to put it in? Lock it in? This is what it looks like. Mine's on automatic. It's across the country. It doesn't matter where you're calling from. If you see something, say something or report something. These are the teens who need to know. It's almost like when your child does something and you joke around and you say, you keep it up, I'm going to call Child Protective Services on you. Right. I'm the exact same one. Keep it up. If I see something, this is the number that's programmed in my phone. Yes. Oh, yes. And thank you very much. We have a card and she has it locked in. See there? Thank you for checking. Now listen to this. Now let me tell you what you guys just did. You just saved some kids' lives. For the simple fact that your recovery efforts is key. You have a card, you have the number, she locking it in now, she got it, locked in. Right. Right. So you're a lifesaver just because you have it. Just imagine how many people got to scramble around to look for a number. How many people got to scramble around? 40 seconds. Every 40 seconds, a child's reported missing. You can have seen something at that 40 seconds and say, you know what, I just saw a Lincoln Impala. It had whatever 1123455 license plate number. You don't have to scramble. You don't have to worry about calling 911. It's trafficking. He picked her up. I saw a van. That's the trafficking hotline. I saw a van. I'm in Baltimore City, 21215. It's just that quick. I got to applaud you guys for that. Yay! Thank you. Thank you. That's a good piece. That's a good piece. And share that information out. Challenge a few people. Challenge a couple of people. They got the ice bucket challenge. Challenge some people with having that hotline number. It's not always about the 911. It's not always 911 is quick. But hello, this is 911. How may I help you? You get human trafficking, it's right for human trafficking. They're not going to ask you ambulance, paramedic, police department. Human trafficking, how may I help you? What state are you in? You don't have to worry about it trickling down to the appropriate areas when it's human trafficking. It takes you right to the source. And they're going to connect you right to the Maryland State Task Force, which is here. And, of course, the guys at Safe House of Hope are already associated with them as well. Did anybody have any questions? Because I knew you guys were going to come, you saw that it was on the itinerary, and you probably was thinking it's something you had questions about anything. Okay. Oh wow, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. It was an eye-opening piece for me to see a 14-year-old girl with her own place, and she's trafficking and forcing other kids to prostitute. So, again, when it became new to me, I had to change my entire dynamics of how I facilitate some of my programs because my trafficker is no longer a man and or a woman and or the nice couple. It is now our children. It is now our children. I'm not going to forget, I really wanted to make sure that I said that one piece that came from a teacher. It says, this is such a critical topic that needs to be discussed. As a counselor, an educator, and a facilitator of presenting on human trafficking with the local child advocacy center, our children's schools, counselor, administrator, and team need to know how to identify potential cases and how to help our children. Let me repeat that again. This is a teacher in a school that needs to know how to have a conversation, not the ABCs, the 1, 2, 3s, not how to get your geometry done, no. How to identify kids in the classroom that are already being trafficked or being worked or coerced out of the classroom every single day. That are being trafficked and being groomed for trafficking. In some cases, high school students themselves are creating these trafficking rings. And we cannot pretend that it is not happening. My hope is that every single school district across the country will have a strategic plan in prevention and intervention. It has gotten to the point where teachers and counselors in school are looking for strategic ways, not just to give the kids the normal, you didn't bring your pens and pencils to school because I know that you forgot the pens and pencils. I'm trying to get my curriculum on and you need a notebook. So teachers were already going in their pocket to get sure that education, to get that education done well with that piece. But now it's a whole new ball game. They really got to identify who's being trafficked. It's not even the fact that they're being molested by the mom's boyfriend. See, that's old, tried and true. We know that one. This is brand new. Brand new is 15-year-olds with their own places. They think it's a business for them. They're making that money. It's an empire to them. They got 4 or 5 other students, kids. It's a ring. It's not a gang. It's not all about the Crips and the blood. It's not about the gang. People think, oh, it's the gang. No, it's a ring. They have their own lifestyle. This was one that came from, this is not even in the state of Maryland. This is through one of my case studies that I was doing.
State of Maryland, actually, the new actually spoke about, there was no provision for them to teach the education
Right.
years ago. They just made a change last year where it's not mandatory yet, but they can bring class.
Right.
Right.
They can. Well, and I did send Deneen.
Seriously, that's
Right.
what we are. And we're so far behind.
Right. Well, I did send a curriculum to Doreen and Teresa.
Mandatory training, just like
Right.
the state police have mandatory training.
Training for it.
And it's because, well, it's because we said, this is what we want as
Right.
citizens. We pay those, right? We pay for the schools.
Right.
We pay for the police, so we should say
What we can do.
what we want.
Well, I did send a curriculum to Teresa and Deneen. I CC'd them together on one that the state was doing. So there is a 30-week program that they sent an RFI on, and they were looking for individuals to come in and do it throughout the school. That was the first that I had ever seen that. So the girls have it. But again, you have to be on certain levels, and I think it was a huge piece with the grant and the funding. But it was, again, an alarming piece. I mean, not alarming. What I mean alarming is an aha, wake-up moment that as I discovered this, thank goodness, there are processes being put in place where they're looking for people to come. Who comes into a school, in middle school, to talk about prostitution? Like it happened in your classroom. It's in the classroom. It's in our children's classroom. It is not the teacher, it's the classmates. It's on our playgrounds now. Did anybody see in the media the 16-year-old girl who was at the dollar store with her mom and a guy tried to snatch her broad daylight? Did you see that? Right. So if you have people like that can be right in broad daylight, no regard to human life and respect, and can actually grab a child, a 16-year-old, from her parent, attempt to, because mama was holding it down, that this is what's going on. It is. So that's the key piece. I hope this information was important enough for you to, I know you will, share it out. I'm going to continue to share the message. I'll follow back up next week at another location just as well. And you can reach through the Safe House of Hope and share the information. They'll be able to respond back to any additional inquiries. Also, if someone comes after and inquire with you about the session or the program, they'll be able to have that there. Oh, yeah, you did on your whole link, on your feed. So I thank you so much for the time. Thank you. I really appreciate it, yeah.